Welcome back to Midwest eSports Formula One Division One, the grand finale of season 11. I think I forget which season we're on at this point, but we have the final race. We do have the Constructors' Cup champion, which is Ferrari. So congratulations to Race Day and Callie Robb. The Drivers' Championship is still up for grabs with this race tonight.
Yeah, the points are tight over in the world of the Drivers' Championship. We're going to get to those standings here very soon. But yeah, there is a lot at stake here in the final race of the season. But Race Day and Callie Robb definitely know that regardless of the outcome of today's race, Race Day could, I'm not sure. I remember we did the math last week, and I don't think he can unless Scarenzi DNFs tonight or something along those lines. But regardless, the two Ferrari drivers will be walking away with some hardware and quite possibly some silver for Race Day. But all of that, it will be found out later in today's event. We are in qualifying Q1 and only just getting underway here. We are on board with Mackey in the Red Bull. And we do have a couple of substitute drivers. Let me pull those up right quick. So we have 3 replacement drivers on the grid here to close out season 11. Tinel will be out tonight for Alfa Romeo. In will be MMR Hightower once again. Electric Blade will be out for Haas, and in will be Dusty Lusky. Hold on. Dusty Lusky. All right. That is a new name for me. Not sure if we have seen Dusty yet, but looking forward to seeing what Haas can pull out tonight. And finally, WS Bacon will be out for Red Bull. In, we're looking at him right now. It's NLR Mackey back again in D1 for some more action. So those are our driver substitutes for this evening's contest. And once we get a look on the drivers, we will go over last week's Stewart findings. There were 6 reports that were issued following the D1 conclusion in Singapore, and only, I believe, 3 of those resulted in action. 2 drivers at fault there.
Whew. Good job with all of that. I believe for the Drivers' Championship, what I saw earlier, if Scarenzi finishes in 19th out of 19 drivers today, it looks like, then he would be the Drivers' Champion based on the points. Currently, race day is 46 points behind Scarenzi. If Scarenzi finished in 19th and race day finished in first, that would be 42 points. Race day could also get a bonus point for fastest lap, a bonus point for pole position. And even that, I don't think would be enough. If Scarenzi finished in 20th, then there would be a tie, I think, if race day hit all of those. So Scarenzi just has to finish the race today, and he will be safe. On the other hand, Scott Palmer is just 4 points behind race day in the Williams for second place in the Drivers' Championship. So race day will be pushing for first, trying to take home another victory, regardless of what happens to Scarenzi. I think if Scarenzi were to go out of the race and not get points too, race day would still need to finish in 6th with fastest lap and pole, or 5th place without fastest lap and pole to jump up.
Wow. Yeah, so serious implications. And that is 6th or 5th. Like, that's the minimum, right? Obviously, if race day wins, Scarenzi DNFs, gets no points on the day. Race day is able to get fastest lap and like 1st through 6th. Yeah, that might do it for the Ferrari. Okay.
Yeah, so Scarenzi was out, then 6th and either fastest lap or pole would tie him, right? I'm not trusting in that anymore.
It's late in the week. It's late in the day. Yeah.
Yes. No. Okay. 6th, he would have to get fastest lap and pole. 5th, he would have to get neither of those.
Okay.
To tie.
I see.
I think race day has the tiebreaker.
5th and above is what race days look.
We'll get there if we need
with
to.
With the Scarenzi DNF. Yeah, there's a lot of, like, for NFL, we call it playoff math. You know, this team does this, and that team does this, and this coach eats Cheerios instead of Chex Mix that morning of the game. Then your team may make it into the playoffs. We're watching Scott Palmer yield to oncoming traffic there, dipping off into that hot desert sand. But yeah, some serious implications here for first place. It is not a sure victory here tonight for Scarenzi, although he has commanded this grid so far this season. This would make his 5th title in Midwest eSports. We did, however, celebrate another Scarenzi milestone last week in Singapore. He celebrated his 100th podium in Midwest racing. So congratulations once again to the Aston Martin driver Scarenzi. We are on board with the legend right now, the four-time champion of Midwest eSports, Formula One racing.
Crazy, and he just goes up into 3rd right now with his time of 1:28. He has had a good season, but only 2 first place races. One in Abu Dhabi, week 4, and then another one in Azerbaijan in week 13. Only error on his season was that Monaco race where he did finish 14th. He DNF'd. He got spun around and then tried to spin the car back around and caused a collision with another driver. Race day has had 2 victories as well on the season, but a couple more lower finishes, 14th, 16th, and 19th, of course, when he disconnected in Portugal after being at the top of the Drivers' Championship just 2 weeks prior, which is when Scarenzi went out. So we've seen them go back and forth, and just such a really close season.
Yeah, these two have been so exciting to watch this entire season. Like you said, it has been nose to nose this entire time. We love to see race day take another one, but that is quite a mountain to climb. Luckily, there are no Stewart findings from last week's race on either Scarenzi or race day. However, we did have, like I said earlier, 6 Stewart reports from last week's race in Singapore, and the findings only resulted in 3 what do you call it? Demerits? Sure, we're going with demerits tonight. The first of them came from an incident between race day and Sharia Coleslaw. The stewards found that Sharia impeded race day while they were both under braking, and that caused race day to exhibit extra caution under braking. Therefore, Sharia was awarded 1 league penalty point for that incident. There was an incident between Bacon and the Plums, no further action. Houdini and Nikki, no further action. However, Nikki and GSR Caesar got into it there where GSR Caesar, or Pingolo, outbraked himself going into a corner and unsafely rejoined and caused a collision with Nikki. The stewards ruled in favor 5-1 for this incident, with an additional 2 league penalty points for no POV camera of the race for Pingolo. So that was a big hit there for Pingolo. And then once again, there was another incident, that big wreck that we saw between the Plums, Nikki, and GSR Caesar, Pingolo, yet again. That incident, the Plums showed, that camera showed that there was no contact to Nikki, and Nikki's POV showed contact from Plums that propels him forward. Due to this discrepancy, the stewards ruled in favor of no further action between those 2 drivers due to poor internet connection. However, Pingolo did receive another 2 league penalty points, league penalty points for no POV. So at the end of the day, Sharia Coleslaw walked away with 1 penalty point, and Pingolo walked away with 5 for 5. So yeah, some serious demerits there for those 2. However, they had no implications on the day's standings. So last week's standings in Singapore are as they were read during the contest, which, yeah, that concludes the Stewart findings.
And don't hate me for this, but I had to search again because I never know. It is license penalty
It's
point.
license penalty points. Of course it is. Just said it like 30 times. I can never remember.
It's okay. I think at the very first week that we did this league, or second week, we asked and they said license, and then several weeks ago we were talking and we got a message after. It was like, it's supposed to be license, not league.
Yeah,
we forget.
My squirrel brain forgot that one. Sorry about that. So yeah, let me redo all of the Stewart findings.
Please start from the top, and we'll be done with qualifying.
All good. Well, yeah, I believe it was the last 2 races we've had have started with a false start leading into the race, forcing us to redo our intro twice. So it would not be the first time that we've had to do a retake, but yeah. Hopefully tonight is a one and done occasion. We have yet to see a weather report from D1, but it is looking dry. We are in the desert, so hopefully, I know, I forget who it was. Was it FP2 or F3 or F2, F3? Recently, it was raining in Bahrain. like in real life, it was raining in Bahrain, and people were just losing their minds. What? Never seen that
happen much. I think I said the same thing about last week, where it doesn't rain at night in Singapore and then rain. So I won't say that again outside of what I just said.
Weather
we
report.
Have had several rainy races, though, so I would hope that we had hail today.
Did you really? In Pittsburgh?
Like 50-mile-an-hour winds.
Whoa!
I had to strap the porch swing down with 3 different bungee cords.
I had to strap the porch swing down. Who was gonna go?
Had my neighbor Ray come out.
Neighbor Ray came over with a ratchet strap, tie my porch swing down. Made sure it didn't go through my front bay window. Oh boy, do I miss the Yinzers. Man, I've switched my vowels for Baltimore. It's very odd.
It's a different thing.
Both cities talk the same way. They just emphasize different vowels, and it's wild. Whenever I drink and I get a little inebriated and I'm out in public, and the Pittsburgh comes at with the OUs, and the O, the straight up O of Baltimore comes out as well. It's just a mess. I sound like a garbage person when I speak when I'm inebriated. So it's a pretty big tell that I'm sober on the broadcasts. Really gives it away there. We just saw VTech retire from the session. 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes to go. VTech currently back in 14th. Doesn't look like the Alpine's going to make much headway getting through this pack, especially now that he is out of the session. However, Scarenzi and Race Day sitting very close to the top, but it's NLR Mackey, the replacement driver in the Red Bull, who still holds fastest lap with a 1:27 and sitting in provisional pole. So you wonder if that has major implications on race day and Scarenzi's mindset, at least heading into this race, having someone, in the mix up there. We see all of our main players, race day, Scarenzi, Gott Palmer, Bobbert Yates, Sui. Everyone's up top, ready to ride. Callie Robb sitting a wee bit back. He's in the pits. We'll probably see him re-enter here shortly for a final lap or two. But NLR Mackey might just cause some chaos here at the start of today's race.
I'm interested to see how aggressive both of them get, race day and Scarenzi, if they're in the back, because they are fighting for that position. Scarenzi may be a bit more conservative, but I don't know what conservative looks like to him, because he is often right on the bumper of the car in front of him. And Gott Palmer so far just right behind him. Those drivers, the only ones that have gone quicker than a 1:29. And I've been looking at the stat vault that they posted today. I want to give them credit. It looks like Spaceman updated this picture.
Thank you for this. It's amazing.
I didn't realize that Gott Palmer has 6 first place on the season.
Yeah.
We talked about Scarenzi with 2, race day with 2. Then you have Gott Palmer with 6. He got the first 3: Brazil, Imola, Las Vegas, then one in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Singapore. So when he does race, he's very much in contention for first place. He missed the race in Monaco, and he finished 20th in Mexico. Those are the only 2 not top 10 finishes for him this season.
Yeah. Gott Palmer is absolutely deadly. And it's amazing that he is not, running for this front, what am I saying? The Drivers' Championship here tonight. That contest is definitely between Scarenzi and Race Day, but I believe Gott Palmer is right there in 3rd, if I'm not mistaken.
He is. That's why, too. He is 50 points behind Scarenzi in 3rd. Race Day's 46 points behind. First place is 60 points. I want to say 20th place is 14. But these guys are consistently top 10, top 5 drivers, which is like 60 to 40 points. And Gott Palmer missed a race. So that's one of them right there. Race Day finished 19th in Portugal. That's the missing 40 points. Scarenzi didn't finish in Monaco, but he was 14th, which was enough to get him to like where he is and has this gap, he has at least raced in every race and has been top 5 every single race except for Monaco.
Now you mentioned Monaco. I think this may be a good time with just over a minute to go here as all the drivers take to their outlap. If you have the graphic pulled up of next year's schedule, Season 12's schedule, I don't believe we are making our way to Monaco this year. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that is, Midnight Monaco is an iconic staple for Midwest. But some of the drivers, some big mixed feelings not having Monaco on there. And I believe Baku is also not on the calendar. So 2 big street races will not be there next year. So the bad luck that Scarenzi carried through this season will be wiped off of the schedule next year. It's the script. It's just like the NFL and Taylor Swift. They've removed Monaco because that was the one race Scarenzi just could not get past.
I think, too, with the season, they typically follow the F1 calendar. And since the new season starts, I think, when this starts, there are a lot of races that will be during the real ones, and Monaco is not in this season 12 window. And then on the off weeks, people can sponsor and pick the track. And I think people, I don't want to say had enough of Monaco, but it was dicey throughout the entire league this season. There were a lot of accidents, and there's a lot of other favorite racetracks that people pick.
Yeah, the connection issues didn't help either this year. But yeah, I understand in real life why we continued to see Monaco on the schedule. It's iconic. It's just, you can't have an F1 season without Monaco. But to be competitive there, I think that's what these drivers are kind of getting at. This is not played up for the media. This is not real life F1. So why are we sacrificing a week of racing just for pomp and circumstance of nothing? Let's fill that gap with a race that means something, that we can actually move and groove and have some strategy to it. Which I understand both sides, but I will be excited to see hopefully that extra race, or rather sans Monaco, means we're going to have some more competitive racing through the season, taking some of those more difficult tracks out of the lineup.
We do have our drivers coming close to our final finish line. Cross has got Palmer doing a nice weave back and forth, so I think he has abandoned that attempt at the last minute. He was only 1/10 of a second. Scarenzi is also trailing his time, so he will not change.
Oh, Scarenzi does move up past race day to 1:28.236. That is going to put him past race day up into second.
Never count him out. My bad there. I saw he was 4/1000th of a second slower after sector 2, and I just assumed that he pulled the Max Verstappen in Monaco, right?
Yeah.
Even with your time over the first 2 sectors, you're usually not gaining much in sector 3, but Scarenzi found over 1/10 of a second and jumped up into second.
Oh, people are calling out Pingolo or GSR Caesar for a quali ban. And race day now sounding off, saying, I really tried. So I wonder if that mindset, race day might be a little flustered heading in here after Scarenzi steals second place on the grid from him at the very last second. We'll see if that has any implications. Did race day just lose his focus because of Scarenzi's qualifying performance? We watched both Astons make their way through the track one last time before the grid lineup here. All eyes are on Scarenzi and race day. Don't count out got Palmer, but we are tracking for the Drivers' Championship here in Bahrain. It is the grand finale of Season 11 Midwest eSports Formula One Division 1 on Nick and Mitch. Lights Out is up next. The grand finale of Season 11 finds this bruised and battered band of brothers once again ready to take on the Bahrain International Circuit. Last week in Singapore, after a dominant season, we saw the duo of Race Day and Cali Robb secure the Constructors' Trophy for Ferrari, but the fight for the driver's title still hangs in the balance tonight. It is truly a night of reckoning for our points leaders. 15 turns make up the 3.4 miles of this unforgiving desert asphalt. And I know I say it a lot, but this is truly a roller coaster of high-speed straights, technical corners, and heart-stopping drama. Bahrain demands respect, punishes mistakes, and rewards bravery. Tonight, under the watchful gaze of the desert stars, legends can be forged, and destinies will be written. Titles are still on the line here tonight, and with a plethora of replacement drivers lining up, the points are ever so muddled. Mitch has our look at the standings before we get underway.
And heading into the final race, Ferrari has taken home the Constructors' Cup with 1,247 points. They are uncatchable tonight, but we do still have Aston Martin in second place, Williams in third, who both are looking to take home second, and the rest of the teams are still looking for a little bit of movement on the scoreboard. For the Drivers' Championship, that is still up for grabs, albeit very closely. Scarenzi has a 46-point lead on race day in the Ferrari, so if he can finish the race tonight, he will take home yet another Drivers' Championship. We also have Gott Palmer in third place, just 4 points behind race day, and with 6 victories on the season, he is looking for his 7th to go up into second in the Drivers' Championship. It's going to be a very exciting race up at the top of the leaderboard tonight.
For one last time, Lights Out is next. This is the Season 11 finale of MidWest eSports Formula 1 Division 1 on Nick and Mitch. I'm ready to go racing.
I'm ready to race too.
Well, I'm ready to watch racing.
Yeah, that's true. Although this was one of the first tracks that I raced in the game.
Absolutely.
I can't remember which one you took me on first. I feel like it would have been Imola.
I think we started in either Barcelona or Imola, but I think the game has you run Bahrain as the first race that you run.
That might have been
I think this is the intro track. Yeah.
Once I started getting into it, Bahrain would be the first race of the season. So I was running it several times. I wanted to have it mentally in my head before I watched my very first F1 race live, which was Bahrain. So track that I am very familiar with. I think it's a ton of fun. I do love that end of Sector 2, beginning of Sector 3. If you have the car set up right, you can carry it at full speed. And if not, you can very easily just slide a little too wide off that track.
Yeah, this one definitely showcases all of the best and worst parts of a car setup, right? I mean, this track really has everything. You have the wonderful straights, you have tight corners, you have combination chicanes, you also have that swooping outer loop in Sector 3 that, like you said, through Sectors 2 and 3, if you have the right setup, you can pretty much be full throttle, full beans for the majority of this track. But I mean, coming down into turn 1, that hairpin, that negative turn down in turn 1 really puts a damper on the pack. And I would not be surprised if we saw some contact, possibly a safety car here at the start, especially with the drivers in front pushing for everything here tonight. Again, replacement driver NLR Mackey sitting atop the grid in the Red Bull, and behind him, the two that are fighting for it all, Scarenzi and Race Day, followed by Gott Palmer. Gott Palmer and Mackey both have wonderful opportunities to mess up this race and make it even harder for those two to walk away victorious here tonight.
And so far, nice weather. I think we're going to have a good race. See the tires. It looks like the first 3 are on mediums. Let's pull up the rest of them. Got Palmer on hard tires, so he's going different than the top of the leaderboard. And out of them, he does stand not sustain. He has the best opportunity tonight to move up, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, got Palmer. That is not an errant mistake. He absolutely knows what he is doing there on those hards. You see Race Day really trying to get some warmth into those with some tight wiggles. This is a hairpin that really took me forever to master, and I still don't think I have mastered it yet. Like I said, there are so many proving points, on this track, where if you can make it through and if you can command a lead and command and overtake whatever it is in Bahrain, you can pretty much do it anywhere else on the schedule. This is such a fun track. It offers absolutely everything, especially this outer loop right here. Get it wrong and you are taking a real deep sand bath. Get it right and you are shot like a cannon across the line. It is so much fun here. We watch these drivers get their last wiggles in, their last bit of warmth in the tires before reassembling on the grid under the desert sky here in Bahrain. A beautiful, beautiful night in the Middle East.
And we'll see how these drivers line up on the line. Last week we had the top two angled inward. The same thing tonight. We have Mackie and Scarenzi pointed towards the midline, looking to assert dominance before getting into turn one. This is a very, very tight turn at the start to the right. And sometimes tricky because if you get on the inside, then you're on the outside for the exit. So you have the better speed, but if you stay outside in turn one, you can break a bit later. So it really is all of the risk.
Just like last week, we see our two front runners, Mackie and Scarenzi, both nose in on the start. They're going to try and take the center line, but it looks like it's Mackie who gets the best of the grid. Race Day going wide to the outside. Mackie swinging around. Will Scarenzi take the bait? He tries, but Mackie is able to get away, getting at least 2-3 car lengths from the rest of the pack there as they all bunch up through turn one. It is all Red Bull. It's all Mackie here in Sector 1 as Scarenzi falls behind Race Day for the start here. He's not too far behind, but we'll see if Race Day can hold that and try to gain some sort of gap between Scarenzi. This is the time to do that right now. Looks like we are through the majority of Sector 1, incident-free here in Lap 1 of the season finale of Season 11, Midwest eSports Formula 1 Division 1 here on Nick and Mitch. Scarenzi almost took the inside line, and it almost worked for him there. He bled a lot of speed on that come out. We're on board now with Robert Yates in 4th place. Behind the action here in the top 3, Scarenzi is able to hold that gap just like we've seen him do for seasons and seasons on end. He will not give Race Day any let up here, staying in those mirrors, making him sweat. Race Day is coming off of a rather, I don't want to say lackluster qualifying session, but Scarenzi was able to take second from him at the very last minute. So maybe this is a long mental game that Scarenzi will be playing on Race Day. Maybe he's just waiting for DRS to clown as many people as possible. There we go. Scarenzi. Sorry, Mitch. I'm on to lap 2. I haven't stopped. Scarenzi gets past Race Day on the inside line. He will retake second place, but it is NLR Mackie who is still commanding a lead here in Bahrain. Okay, now I'm done. I'll take a break.
And say we have some timing errors on the sheet, which is why I was playing around with it too. It's got a few of the laps bugged right now, so that should straighten out. Makes it kind of hard to see where the big gaps are. You can see it's like lap ahead, lap behind. I think Robert Yates was showing as like 100th of a second behind Scarenzi when he was not, so it looked like the gap was closer. But Scarenzi has moved up into second very early on, so interesting to see if Race Day is going to challenge him right back for that spot. We do have the 3 DRS zones, so I imagine they will be trading back and forth.
Drivers are really going to need to watch these track limits as well. You see a lot of our front runners dipping out of the limits there on that line, on that quick straight in Sector 2. We do have word from the stewards due to GSR Caesar Pingelos currently in 7th place in the Mercedes. There was a qualifying ban on the Mercedes driver following last week's race in Singapore that was not honored Scavney leaving the session. We'll see if he can rejoin. Caesar did not honor the qualifying ban that was placed on him for today's race. Therefore, that will be a race ban for his next contest in the league. So he will start season 12 in whichever division he finds himself in on the sidelines. So not a great way to start your next season there. But, you know, hey, stuff happens, I guess.
Sorry, I had a big yawn there.
Hey.
About to reply to that. We do have DRS enabled, though.
We were just talking that you have decaf tonight, and I forgot my shot of espresso. So I'm not worried about a crash. I'm just going to perpetually be a little slow here tonight, which is why I'm trying to keep talking, trying to keep the energy up. See, race day kind of getting a little squirrely there in that corner, hitting the brakes real hard, locking up and throwing that back end out just a wee little bit. Wiggle it just a little bit. Race day has it under control, though. He is a Constructors Champion winner. Him and his teammate, Callie Robb, do not count out the second Ferrari. He might be in 12th right now. But we have seen Callie Robb make up 10, 11 positions in a single race. So he is by no means out of the running here. We may very well see 2 Ferraris in the mix in the top 10 here very soon. But it has been race day this season, who has really done a lot of the points lifting for Ferrari, and just a wonderfully consistent garage. That team has been absolutely dynamite this entire season, and it's no surprise to anyone that they walked away with the hardware for this one.
Yeah, I'm looking at Callie Robb's season. He did miss the first race, which is why he is missing a few points. He is in 4th in the Drivers' Championship and about 47 points behind Gott Palmer. But he did win in Belgium at Spa, and he has a 3rd place finish in Abu Dhabi and Hungaroring. And a lot of his other positions, 4th, 6th, 5th, 4th. So he is very consistently just right there at the top.
Yeah. Both of these drivers, phenomenal.
And that kind of gets into how the Constructors' Championship can play out as well. We know both Scarenzi, race day, top-tier drivers, 1st and 2nd, trading back and forth. Callie Robb, pretty consistent in that 4th to 6th range. And then Cynical, the Aston Martin teammate for Scarenzi, has a 2nd place finish, but a lot of his other races are in that 6 to 10 range. And that's where you start to lose a little bit of ground throughout that Drivers' Championship, or Constructors' Cup Championship.
With DRS, race day closing the gap. Here we go. Boom. It is on. He's going to try and take the inside line down the finish straight. He will get past Scarenzi for now. Scavney was able to rejoin the session, so we'll see what the Haas driver will be able to do now that he is back in today's race, currently sitting in 18th. You see all of the DRS implications there in the middle of the pack. Sharia Coleslaw getting past Dusty. Those two going toe-to-toe. And Plums and Suey also doing the dance right now. But up front, it is race day ahead of Scarenzi, who yet again will just sit back, wait for the right proper time. It is going to be a long night for those 2 drivers, especially trying to catch NLR Mackey. But these 2 are going to be pushing full throttle for this entire race, both of them locking up down into that hairpin. As is tradition in Bahrain. I mean, let's be honest. No one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition, and no one ever expects that Bahrain hairpin.
No, someone always locks up in that corner. It's just such a weird downhill hairpin left turn that almost impossible to drive right. And even if you do drive it perfectly, I think sometimes the mechanics will just fail you. Not the mechanics who work on the car, just mechanics of the car just doesn't play out sometimes.
Yeah, like the camber of the track too is odd, right? Because it dips in, you're coming downhill, it kind of dips in, but then it flattens out immediately. So you can't take any of that, momentum with that corner and kind of just roll through it, you really have to turn and force that wheel to the left to make sure you stay on track. Because if you're waiting for the track to kind of pull you around like it does in Hungaroring and other tracks very similar, it will never do it for you. It's rough.
I think next year we're going to need a teleprompter so we can draw out all of the physics and forces that play into these cars. If you'd have told me back in high school physics that I would love this part, specifically of racing, I love like the physics and handling, I don't think I would ever believe that. But it's some interesting situations, and this will be a good onboard view of that.
There is a caution flag in Sector 2. It looks like it is the other Aston Martin. MMR Cynical is dipping down into 16th place. It doesn't look like there were any other drivers involved or at least impacted by their involvement. So we will see if Cynical sustained damage and needs to take it into the pits for some repairs. The visual check looks okay. It might have just been a big beefy spin into the sand. We've seen it before, and we will likely see it again. Lap 6 of 29 here. Plenty of racing left to be had. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. You know, if you told my high school self, who like I was like a serial clowner of NASCAR, IndyCar, not so much F1. I really didn't know it existed other than my dad watching maybe 1 or 2 races a season. Race day regains supremacy over Scarenzi, and Gott Palmer gets past Bobbert Yates yet again. That was a very quick exchange there between these two drivers. Yeah, very, very surprising watching the transformation. Is that a sign of us growing up, or is that a sign of just really good marketing on F1's part with Drive to Survive and all of that? Like, I know that we were swept up in all of that hype, but you know, it wasn't just the show, it wasn't just the reality side of it. We really are nerding out on these cars. I think once I realized that they were running fighter jets without wings, side wings, it got a lot more appealing.
Yeah, I think what really helped, I mean, playing the video game was one thing too, and just like some cool tracks, but using like F1 TV and just seeing the amount of stats you can follow during a race with the track maps, the sector times, you got the practices to watch, and you can track all of those as well. And then you get the stuff too, like the releases that they show the changes on the car each week. So they have like the detailed technical papers on what teams have modified, what's been reviewed, the penalty reviews. Like there's a lot of things that you can keep yourself busy with whenever you have downtime at work.
There really is so much, and it's a little rough because I have a coworker. Shout out Ian. I don't know if you're watching us while you're working out tonight. But Ian always comes over and we always talk about the races. You know, right now it's livery season, all of the driver announcements with Lewis Hamilton. But it is a ton of fun through the season for us to just kind of nerd out on a Monday or a Tuesday to see all of the coworkers kind of stare at us. My boss was inquiring about F1 the other day, and we had a 2-hour car drive together. So I was able to kind of condense all of my excitement and briefly explain the sport and what makes it so appealing. I don't know if he's going to bite, but would really be fun to see him enter the sport as well.
I'm just trying to think now, what is an F1 fan's version of the all too well 10-minute version?
Yeah, right. Watch Bobbert Yates really struggle there through the unexpected hairpin. Yeah, it changes every time for me. And I'm unmedicated, so my brain kind of like Pablo Picasso like splatter paints all of the information. Like, this is my favorite part. No, but this is my favorite. But oh, I haven't told you about this. All right, so here's this quick backstory, and that's why this is my favorite. But that's actually my favorite over there.
Thinking it might be like the Max Lewis 21 situation.
Yeah.
Because just as a comparison to like the all too well 10-minute, it's something that like a deep fan will explain like all of the detail behind it, and you have to know like all this backstory. Mm-hmm. So like, well, first you have to hear about this and this and this and this and this, and then you can understand this. And I think just with that 2021 driver championship thing at the very end, there's a lot of Prix story that you would have to fill someone in. Like, why does someone hate Max? Well,
well, now on the other hand, Cynical is in the pits for that incident, but it looks like it's a DNF for the Aston Martin, unable to repair the body damage. Unfortunate there for MMR Cynical, but thankful that there are no other cars affected on the track. We do have a caution in Sector 1, no safety car called yet. That driver is... Who is in Sector 1 back there? Going.
I think that's where Cynical went out, and it looks... Is that the safety car out on the course? No, that might be Cynical's car just
we would have
track.
Yeah, that's the robot pulling him off. Okay.
The what?
Cynical left the session, so I believe that was just the AI just coasting.
Okay, there, it's gone now.
Yeah.
Sometimes the safety car shows up in that too.
Oh, I see.
I was looking if this would have any implication on the Constructors' Cup. It might.
This in-depth analysis of the constructors' standings brought to you by Nick and Mitch.
Let's see. Again, a lot of math here. 47. Williams is 47 points behind Aston Martin. So Fireballer would have to get up into the top 4 or 5, I think, to actually make an impact.
I see.
So for now, we're still... Aston Martin is still in second place in the Constructors' Cup.
Thank you for all of the quick math that you do. My brain
it's probably wrong.
Yeah, but see, you can at least like fake it and kind of be right. You know, like you'll still get a passing grade even if you're just talking out your butt.
Yeah.
My brain does this cool thing where anytime math is implicated, it just shuts off. I just hear white noise in my brain, and it's like avoid. And it's like a primal instinct that I just don't say anything. You could ask me to do a math question right now, and I'd probably just be completely silent because my brain is like in fight or flight. Sharia Coleslaw getting the better of the AlphaTauri of Plums, but not quite yet. Plums able to hold on through the outer loop. Sharia getting close, but not too close to the Baby Bull out in front. That was tricky, especially with Sharia having some incidents last race with braking. Very, very dicey there. We'll see what Callie Robb can do with these two drivers because they've been battling it out. Sharia is going to dip into the pits. That might have been one of the soft tire pit stops. We're going to start to see those drivers. Yeah, we're going to start to see those drivers heading in, swapping for mediums. Scott Palmer, don't forget, is the only one in that top 5 running hard tires at the moment. So we'll see how that shakes things up in the top 6, excuse me. We'll see how that shakes things up once these drivers need to relinquish their first set.
It'll be interesting. He is 5.5 seconds behind third place and about 10, 11 seconds off of the lead. Race day, of course, is the most important one. He needs to get in front of race day and preferably 2 positions in front of race day to jump him in the standings. And that 5-second gap may or may not be enough. At this point, as race day's tires start to fall off, Scott Palmer has to at least make up some time to make it worth it.
As is tradition here at Nick and Mitch, the first lull of the race is the perfect time to thank our Division 1 stewards. These are the folks who take all of the incidents of today's race into consideration for the points, for the standings, once the checkered flag has flown. So thank you for the overtime work. They're also drivers. They're also names that we know and love on circuit as well. But for Season 11, a huge thank you to Commissioner Porkchops, along with Lancey and Knuckles, our head D1 steward for Season 11. Thank you very much to those 3 gentlemen for keeping this league above board and at the very top of eSports racing.
During that wonderful message, we had Scarenzi and Race Day trading places several times over Sector 1 in this race. They are all in for 2 and 3. It looks like Scarenzi almost lost the rear end of the car, but it's able to reel it back in. Race Day is going to get that DRS, but run out of room before going around the corner.
These two are absolutely riding the rails, and they will be doing so for the remainder of today's race. I mean, there's no reason to let up. The pace is being set by these two right here. I apologize for the rest of the grid, but these are the points. This is the big fight here tonight. We'll try and give everyone some screen time, but you just can't take your eyes away, especially with the interval being so close. They have not lost their DRS advantage once this race. There goes Scarenzi into the pits to switch out those mediums. Race Day will stay out as Mackey also heads in. Race Day will lead the Bahrain Grand Prix. Got Palmer moving up into second place for now. It's lap 13 of 29. Still quite a bit of race to go. But those two are going to continue to push, and it is so exciting watching them swap every Sector 1, every Sector 3 through these DRS traps. It's going to be a toss-up. It's going to come down to the very last lap, or else we can at least hope that it will come down to the very last lap of action here tonight. We've seen so many other races this season come down to the very last lap, sometimes, in the case of Brazil, in the last corner of the last lap. This season has been nothing short of a showstopper. So much fun, edge of your seat action every single week.
And this starts to be the time where Galt Palmer, I don't want to say loses track of his chances in this race, but when you go on a strategy of hard tires and everyone else pits and you haven't, it becomes hard to judge yourself against their times on if you're gaining or losing. If you follow the same tire strategy as Race Day, you're 5 seconds behind. You got to make up 5 seconds. Right. Once Race Day goes into the pits here, Galt Palmer will be out ahead by 15, 20 seconds. And
that is huge. Race Day getting a 5-second penalty for pit lane speeding. Huge implications here in the Drivers' Championship. Race Day is not going to be happy with that one. The first penalty on the day, and it is on one of the two drivers who really, really cannot take any disadvantage here in Bahrain. Wow.
And we'll see if Scarenzi can jump out in front of him at the end of the pit. Looks like Race Day's going to stay inside, but Scarenzi is taking that position.
He said, "Boink."
And now it's a lot tougher for Race Day. We mentioned Galt Palmer and Race Day, the big battle. Galt Palmer has to gain 4 points to tie Race Day. And with the 5-second penalty, that 5-second gap that existed when Race Day went into the pits, that's going to be pretty much neutralized. Massive switch up here at the halfway point of the Bahrain Grand Prix. I might have to look up what the tiebreak rules are now in this league, which I believe is first place.
It comes down to podiums, or I believe it comes down to first places. It comes down to podiums.
Palmer's got the first places for sure.
Yeah.
We'll do that in the lap 20 and so on.
Yeah, if someone is watching, Kamish, if you're watching tonight, please let us know in the YouTube chat how the heck we determine a tie, a winner from a tie.
Interestingly enough, too, I'm looking at the point spreads between most, from 20th all the way up to 4th. Each position is worth 2 points more. But from 4th to 3rd, that's a 4-point jump.
Wow.
And then 3rd to 2nd's 2 points. 2nd to 1st is 5 points.
Wow.
So that 4-3 is going to be very interesting because Mackey could be first, Scarenzi could be second, and then you're going to have Galt Palmer and Race Day fighting for those 4-point gap spots.
Well, like we said, this one is just going to be an edge of the seat ride through to the very end. We are now on the back half of the season finale here in Bahrain, and it will. They're definitely driving. They're definitely going to earn the fireworks here at the end of today's race. You see Race Day barreling through the hairpin, trying to make up that DRS to get back up to Scarenzi. He doesn't have it, cannot activate it, as he was over the 1 second mark entering the DRS trap. So we'll hold pace and try again on the next one.
Hey, I'm trying to find the tie right now. Here it is.
It was my turn to go. I'm sorry.
If two drivers are tied in points at the end of a season, driver with the most wins in that season gets the position. If they both have the same amount of wins, then most second place finishes, and this continues all the way down.
Qualifying, right. So yeah, so Gott Palmer looking for that tie.
Looking
as
for those
he
4
finally
points.
heads into the pits with his teammate Fireballer. Both of them double stacking. Ooh, that is... Okay, Gott Palmer is out. Fireballer came back in. Sorry, I saw them both in the pits at the same time. I was like, uh-oh. No, we are all well and good. Gott Palmer back in action on mediums. So just doing a reverse strategy here.
And yeah, reverse strategy. Gott Palmer's 9.5 seconds behind Race Day, but he is on the quicker tires.
And he also has that 5-second penalty to help him
So
out
yes,
there.
so he needs to gain
4
seconds.
Wow. Yeah, so keep an eye on the interval there with the Williams in 5th place right now.
And Plums will be pitting at some point. He's on lap 16 of those hard tires, so it will be...
Got Palmer up into 4th, so now we're into the points.
And it'll be that 4th and 3rd position, which are 4 points separated.
Wow. This is feeling a lot like, I believe it was Azerbaijan this season, just a couple of weeks ago, Race Day, losing to Scarenzi by just 6/100ths of a second.
And the other challenge at this point, too, will be that Race Day and Scarenzi will be battling back and forth. However, they will also have DRS off of each other, so it's hard to tell if they'll be slowing each other up and let Gott Palmer catch up, or the DRS will keep them away. Right. Oh, it's exciting.
It's so exciting. Well, the Plums did not pit, but they did bump down into 4th as these two drivers are just absolutely off to the races here tonight. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I hate myself for that.
Sorry, it's the last time I have to deal with you this season.
Oh, gee, deal with me. Do we not have chat up in OBS?
Or is no one? This once before. I just think no one's chatting.
Everyone's just busy watching the race.
Oh.
Hey. Oh. Uh-oh.
Hello.
All right, I'll pull up the chat on another screen.
Oh, here we go. I can pop it out.
That's all good. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. We've been flying blind.
Welcome to a safety car. Everything's happening. We pop out the chat and a safety car happens. That is awful news for Race Day.
God, Palmer's loving it.
Absolutely. Let's catch up on some of these chats.
Great.
Okay, Swift reference, yep.
Yes, we did.
One-on-one race, 10-lapper in Monaco as a tiebreaker.
Oh.
I like that.
Honestly, all right, here we go. We'll go one more. As a tiebreaker, you do a shootout, but it's in Gran Turismo. It's at Monaco, or ACC, whatever, on a go-kart. Let's take it back to karting and not F1, or an old F1 car that is sizable for Monaco, so you can have some really fun overtaking opportunities. It just can't be the modern F1 cars, or else you're just going to see what we're seeing here, and it's DRS opportunity and then sit and wait for the next lap. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I think that happened one other race too, because I was like, usually people comment,
Yeah.
Usually it's our parents. I'm not saying that we have a ton of people that comment, but usually there's comments coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, and there Kamish is watching, so we did hear from Pork Chops, but well, all right. Hey, it only took us 2/3 of this race to figure out our stream deck.
We were
But
also
we're here.
just talking before the race how pretty soon technology is going to outpace us, because we were learning new things about the program that we use to put our video and audio into Streamlabs.
It really is jarring to have those moments now where you and I, who have been on the forefront of technology, streaming, gaming, all of that for years. I mean, we've been doing YouTube for more than 10 years at this point. And yeah, we're starting to get to that point where like we're just missing things and we can't keep up like we used to. It's that dreaded thing that I've heard my parents say, I've heard my grandparents say, and I was always like, yeah, our generation is different. We're starting to lose it. I'm starting to lose grip.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah?
Got Palmer didn't pit, and everyone else did. So Got Palmer is now in the lead.
Excuse me, what?
Now his tires are 2 laps old. But Got
Does that
Palmer
matter,
is now
though?
in the lead. Race day served his penalty.
Whoa.
So race day is down in 5th.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So if Got Palmer can stretch these tires, I imagine everyone else on medium is going to stretch these tires to the end. If Got Palmer can stretch them, then he's in a great spot to jump up into second.
Race day may literally throw his entire rig out the window if this plays out how we are watching it play out right now. What a phenomenal move from Got Palmer. I mean, there's a reason why the Williams has won so many races this season, right? You know, he's a sleeper, but he's holding all of the hardware. You don't think anything about him. And then he walks in with this wheelbarrow full of trophies. Like, oh, yeah. Oh, these? Yeah, we just won these this season. Where were you guys? Do not count out Got Palmer, folks. He might go for it all here tonight. This might be the most incredible off-the-wall strategy that I have called in a race myself. I'm not going to say ever because it's not. But for us, for what we're seeing right now,
it's definitely maybe not even a daring one. Pork Chop saying it's just a logic setup. So
hey now,
hey.
I'm running the G29 too. Watch it. Watch it.
Just not going to put any of our driving equipment up on stream.
It's a reliable wheel, Dallas.
I'm going to show you my wheel after this race is done. But going back to that, starting on hards, we have seen that a couple times with other drivers where Got Palmer obviously has won all of these races, but it's a lot of times race day Scorenzi are taking pole position or top spots in the race. So you kind of have to do a different strategy and just hope that something in the race plays out in your favor. And in this case, it did with the safety car, where he stayed out on those hards and was only on lap 1 on medium tires when the safety car went out, so he didn't have to pit again. The other guys went from medium and then were on like lap 4 or 5 of their hards and decided I need to switch back for speed for the end of the race. So it was just a call where you try to do something different and hope you move up, and so far he is. Although Mackey has gotten past him already, so Scorenzi is on his tail in 3rd and race day just behind in 4th.
Scorenzi on an absolute tear here, really putting the pressure on Got Palmer, like Mitch just said. The lights went out. It was a massive changeup during the safety laps. But Got Palmer now sitting pretty 2 positions ahead of race day, his main competition right now in the back half of the race. Only 10 laps remain. And it's anyone's guess as to how these points will shake out here in Bahrain. It is, once again, Mackey atop the grid, followed by Got Palmer, Scorenzi, and race day. And Callie Robb, I said it earlier, 8th from 12th up into 8th. The Ferrari slowly making their way up the grid. Both of the Constructors champions are now in the top 10. But the race is still with Scarenzi and Gott Palmer. We are watching Scarenzi just bide his time, hang out, wait for that DRS to be enabled, and get back up to Maki as fast as possible. Maki sets fastest with the 1-3-1.
You did say that, and Fireballer and the other Williams is on soft tires, so he's got a shot to move up a couple positions. And that could get pretty close to changing the Constructors' Cup standings. I can't do that math right now, but I said it was around 40 points, and 8th place is 40 points, so getting there. Pork Chops also in the chat saying he's got some exciting things for the off season for season 12.
Really looking forward to whatever that means.
If it's half as fun as the off season for real Formula One, it's going to be a doozy.
That's hard to beat. Oh, this roster is going to be stacked for season 12. Wow. Yeah, I cannot wait to see where we go from this season. I mean, this one has been absolutely electric to watch. Scarenzi absolutely up the snoot of Gott Palmer here, heading down the straight. We'll see what the Aston Martin can do to safely get back into second place. But yeah, really looking forward to season 12. A lot of folks have been hyping it up. Season 12 might be the can't miss season here in Midwest racing. We will definitely be back on. We haven't had an official confirmation from the league, but we hope that we are welcomed back to re-sign with MidWest for at least one more season of broadcasting. NLR Mackey beating his previous lap by 6/100ths of a second. He is now the 131.329 as he heads down into turn 1. Still keeping all of these drivers at bay, and Gott Palmer able to put a little bit of distance between him and Scarenzi. Race day now up into 4th and trying to close that gap ever so quickly.
You think we can go to the racetrack in Montreal and then do the live stream from the trackside on the Thursday night?
Why the hell not?
Just an excuse for a trip.
Well, the last time we were up in Montreal, we stayed in that hotel, and I think it was right before you were really getting into F1, and you watched me kind of geek out because all of the art through the entire hotel was all Montreal Grand Prix. And I was like, oh my God, look at all these pictures of the cars. It's right out there. It's right out there. And you're like, yeah, okay. Can we go to dinner now? Can we go get drinks? Where do we? So we could stay at that hotel. We could just do it from there. We could do a pre-show from the track earlier in the day, like a 2-hour pre-show, and then dip back to the hotel and wherever they will let us stream. Yeah, doing a live stream of the live stream from the Wall of Champions in Montreal would be an absolute blast. I think in the off season they allow folks to ride bikes and different recreational vehicles on it. So
look at race day.
Here we go, race day and Scarenzi both getting some tailwind. Race day gets by Gott Palmer. Race day gets by Scarenzi. It is race day in second place. The Ferrari has just the Red Bull in front as he pushes both of the pack leaders back into 3rd and 4th respectively. Wow. What a move from the Ferrari, and we have another safety car. It looks like GSR Caesar is out of this race. We will have to see what happened there with the Mercedes, but we are under safety once again as race day pulls off a phenomenal overtake, a double overtake of those two drivers, only to be squashed once again by a safety car. We will have a regrouping of these 4. We're going to have another shootout with just 6 laps to go. It doesn't get any better than this. If you are not on the edge of your seat, get there soon.
Is anyone going to pit? I don't think so. I'm not that in depth with the strategy, but
I mean, look,
23, 24, 25 should also be a safety. I think 25, the end of it is when the safety car will come in, so we'll have 4 laps of full racing after the safety car goes in.
Right. I mean, even the longest tires out on the track right now, Scavney with 7 laps in, got Palmer with 7 laps in. Remember, he is two laps ahead of the rest of the pack with his mediums. But no one is under. Oh, look at that fake out from Mackey. Oh, race day almost bit. That could have been massive for the Ferrari. But he was able to correct at the very last minute. Real cheeky there from the Red Bull. Great strategy nonetheless, but with under 10 laps of racing on these tires, there's no reason why they can't do 4 more at speed once we are back underway.
It just would have been one of those interesting moves where you could have I gotta pull the names back up. Mackey not going in, but race day could have maybe, like, if race day screens got Palmer all went into the pits, then all of a sudden it's looking bad for Mackey because they would catch back up to him. So sometimes you saw that. We saw that last week or 2 weeks ago, I think. The first driver stayed out, and 2 weeks ago, and everyone else went into the pits. And
that was race day
so.
In Baku, yeah.
And only because he was the safety car announcement went out, like, and he did not have enough time to, like, make that decision to dip into the pits.
Yeah, he was looking at pit entry when the safety car was deployed. So he was unable to do that, and everybody else capitalized. Yeah, I believe that was a race day lead. I could be wrong there, but nonetheless.
I believe so, because then he had to pit, came back out in 10th, and had to chew his way back up to 2nd.
Yeah. I believe that's race day in the comments saying, don't worry about it. We do have paddock chat. We're still under safety car here in the season finale of season 11, Formula 1 Division 1 Midwest eSports. Robert Yates in the paddock chat saying, yeah, my bad. Sorry, that was horrid. So looks like there might have been an incident with Robert Yates and GSR Caesar, spelling the end of Caesar's reign here in Bahrain. See what I did there? Well, GSR Caesar gets an early head start into the off season, and will have an even longer off season as he honors that race penalty, that race ban, to start season 12 due to ignoring today's quali ban. A lot of bans here. Remember,
those points do rack up over a season. So what did you say?
Nah, don't worry about it. I said, remember silly bans?
Where'd that come from?
I'm grasping at straws. You did not enjoy my first dad joke, so I tried to make an even worse one. I'm just trying to get a rise out of you here.
You're trying to relate to the kids?
I'm trying to relate to the youths. And lap 25, 4 to go. We are still under safety as they're cleaning up whatever remains of Pingolo's Mercedes on track. Race day keeping those tires warm behind Mackey. After that double overtake, race day has to be floating right now. I'm sure he doesn't want to lose any of that focus. He doesn't want to lose any of the energy that has built up in the very tail end of today's race.
At this point, safety car is coming in. So
let's go.
26 and I believe 27 without DRS, and then 2 laps with DRS.
Oh, this is going to be a lot. Okay. Who needs a voice on a Friday workday, right?
Right.
It's the finale. And the Penguins are winning. It doesn't get any better than this.
See how long Mackey sits back on this corner.
Yep. Oh, big break on the straight here. He's waiting. Is he going to try and dip them into the pits again? We'll see. Look at this grouping. Mackie knows exactly what he's doing. And here we go across the line. Only 3 laps to go here in the Bahrain Grand Prix, the season finale of season 11. It's race day taking the lead past Mackie into turn 1. Scarenzi and God Palmer hold steady. It's Mackie and Race Day back and forth through sector 1. Race Day holds firm, trying to get that interval in front of the Red Bull. Will he be able to do it? Takes the inside line. Mackie's pushing hard. He gets past Race Day again. Mackie now on the inside line, forcing Race Day to the out. Race Day can't find a way past. Back up into first place. Scarenzi just waiting behind. We've seen this time and time again. The ever-patient Scarenzi back in the pack, waiting for the opportunity to strike. Race Day had a wonderful start off the grid there after Mackie's shenanigans, but it is Mackie who comes out ahead of the pack once again before DRS is enabled. Race Day has a very small mountain to climb, but a mountain nonetheless. Mackie is a replacement driver tonight, but is by no means a rookie or someone that you should take lightly out there on track.
It is intense out there, and DRS is only going to make it worse. Look who is coming behind. Race Day, Scarenzi's trying to peek through, and Cali Rob in the other Ferrari has worked his way into 5th, about to put some pressure on Gott Palmer.
Let's go. Right now, that would be a wonderful team move for Cali Rob to try and get ahead of Gott Palmer, or at least just get in the mind of Gott Palmer to keep him as far away from his teammate as possible. A little bit of a sacrifice strategy there. It's now Race Day and Scarenzi getting past Mackie as he dips down into 3rd place.
Gott Palmer up into 3rd too. He's going to get past Mackie, although Mackie's not going to wait. Looks like he may be able to take it back. These 4 are all pushing for the victory.
2 laps to go. Race Day and Scarenzi just trading 1st place there. We have 1 more lap before DRS is enabled, but it doesn't look like these front runners really need it. This is absolutely electric. The strategy, the skill, the determination to one-up the person in front of you is just absolutely spot on right now. Race Day definitely enjoying that 1st place move. I mean, what a wonderful heads-up play to take that 5-second penalty early in this race here. Not have that tacked on at the very end so that he can control his destiny. And it was in time. It was perfectly timed as well, right before that safety car. I mean, Race Day is on point tonight. He knows exactly what needs to happen. He's locked in.
Yeah, and Gott Palmer is hanging on to the DRS gap of 1 second. If he can't close that, it might be the end of his chance to move up into 2nd. He has to get in front of Race Day, but Scarenzi has done so. Mackie looking to do the same. Not quite, and Race Day challenging yet again for the lead, going 3 wide through these corners.
Absolutely phenomenal. DRS now enabled. You saw Scarenzi, Mackie now getting past Scarenzi up into 2nd, bumping Scarenzi down into 3rd place for a quick dance with Gott Palmer. DRS was enabled and Scarenzi was able to close that gap. He only had 1/100th or 1/10 of a second behind Race Day, but DRS was just enough to get him by there. But that is all for naught as Race Day now sits atop the pack, followed by Mackie, Scarenzi, and Gott Palmer. It's now Mackie and Race Day going back and forth. Mackie is going to take 1st once again. This is by no means the end of today's race. We have 2 laps to go, just 1.5 laps to go. And it's still anyone's call.
And going into that final lap, if Scarenzi can finish the race, I believe at this point he's finished 90% of the race, so he gets points. So he should be the driver's champion. Gott Palmer, or Race Day will be 2nd in the driver's champion unless Gott Palmer can jump over top of him with the DRS that is being provided on this final lap.
Oh, race day spins! Race day spins! Absolutely taking it too hard. Got Palmer and Race Day both absolutely torching on the final lap of this race. Scarenzi moves up into first. Callie Robb into second. It's still Race Day in third, but we have an absolute yard sale out here on the track. This is, oh my gosh, what just happened? Did Race Day try and go too hard into that corner against Mackie?
I don't think we caught it well on the camera. I thought Race Day was dropping out, but Got Palmer took a fall, and Coleslaw and Mackie, both Red Bulls, out of the race. Somehow a safety car wasn't deployed, I guess, because the race is just about over. Looks like two more cars have gone off too.
But we have cautions all over the place. Oh man, Mackie not happy. Scarenzi, Callie Robb crossed the line. Scarenzi takes first place here in Bahrain. Here comes Race Day across in third, followed by Plums, Got Palmer, Houdini, Sui, and the rest of them making their way down the finish straight. Scarenzi will be, once again, Drivers' Champion of Formula One Division 1 Midwest Esports Racing. And all of that coverage right here on Nick and Mitch. What a season for Scarenzi in the Aston Martin. We have said it time and time again. Just a wonderful, wonderful driver to watch every single week. Wonderfully fought race there. Not the finish that I was expecting at all, and not the finish that these drivers were expecting either. Houdini getting the Cody's Driver of the Day award, but Mackie sounding off in the chat, Sharia sounding off in the chat. No one is happy. People are blaming Plums. People are congratulating Scarenzi. Wow. What a way to end today's race, let alone the entirety of season 11.
It all came crashing down and exploding in the final lap in Bahrain. But like you said, Scarenzi taking home the Drivers' Championship. Ferrari getting 2 and 3 on the podium, taking home the Constructors' Cup. They locked that up last week, so they deserve to be on the podium tonight.
All three of our drivers that take home the hardware for season 11 are 1, 2, and 3 here in Bahrain. It has been yet another wonderful season here with Midwest Racing. Oh, these drivers. It's everyone's fault. It's everyone's fault. Everyone is to blame for that last lap spin out. That is going to be a lot of like replays, and this is not going to be solved before the end of today's stream. And I know that I'm going to be up very late watching all of these drivers' POV replays of what on earth just happened.
I think Fireballer is saying blew his left tire in the last lap. Hasn't seen that happen before. Just crazy.
I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what just happened. That was absolute pandemonium. But nonstop action from the very start to the very end. And we do have champions crowned here today. Thank you again to everyone over at Midwest Racing for putting on such a wonderful season, the 11th wonderful season over here at Midwest. And thank you once again for allowing us the opportunity to cover primarily Division 1 racing. It was a ton of fun to drop down into D2 and D3 this year as well. And I hope that we can get a couple more races drop down next season to cover some of the pandemonium going on down in D3. That one was an absolute blast to call. But to all of the drivers and all of the divisions, thank you very much for all of your commitment, for all of your sportsmanship out on track, and just entertainment every single week. This is so much fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it gives us a good thing to do too, so we don't have to live commentary over the real races when we're watching with other people who then get annoyed that we do commentary during that.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. We have a Snapchat group that live chats each other during the races, and you and I really do have like our patter. You know, we go back and forth on the live chats with our patter. And a couple of the other buddies are in broadcasting, so they understand what's going on. But it is a little strange for the two of us to be in a Snapchat group doing a broadcast. Yeah, so thank you for allowing us to get all of the casting out before the actual race weekend start. The actual F1 season is coming up very, very soon, and it will coincide with season 12 of MidWest eSports Racing. So we will have a lot more to talk about here in the coming weeks. Just Mike Wazowski cut me off there on side of the frame. Chibel.
I'll put it over me too here. We'll share the love.
But as you see here, March 7th will be our return, and we will start off season 12 from Saudi Arabia, followed by Hungaroring and Australia. Those are going to be wonderful starts to the season for sure. I love the Australian race. It's a track that it's iconic. You know the videos, you know the track, but it's not one that I have like studied as a driver. So it's always fun. It always feels fresh to be in Australia. Looking forward to that entire season coming up. That's all I got. I'm excited. I'm thankful. I'm jazzed up. I didn't need any espresso tonight. Maybe that was my downfall. Maybe I've been forcing a crash every single race, like a mental, energy crash, not an on track crash. But
that's the commentator's curse that we give out to drivers occasionally.
Right. We had nothing to do with today, and that was the most egregious incident that we've had all season. So we'll see what lies in store. Season 12 set to be an absolute banger. Pork Chops Commissioner saying these teams are going to be stacked. It is going to be a raucous time here come March. We look forward to it, and we can't wait to rejoin you for season 12 of MidWest Formula One action. Thank you very much to all of our YouTube members, the folks that chip in a little every month to make sure we have all of the awesome transitions, graphics, music, licensing stuff, software, everything. This whole channel is thanks to these sponsors. So thank you very much to the members, Bone Crusher 2D, Coach 34, and Mama Bell, along with co-producers Killa Vapor and Captain Snowbeard and Kirsten, and our Fans and Fans Plus. If you don't want to join at a monthly fee, you can do us a huge favor and just click subscribe. It's 100% free, and you get an awesome notification that interrupts our stream. So please, by all means, interrupt the stream as much as possible. Tell your mom, tell your dad, subscribe to Nick and Mitch. We'll love them just as much as we love you.
Yeah, and we'll have to find something cool to add for season 12 during the broadcast, because we switched the intro video. We switched a lot of the intro stuff for season 11, and then added in those little F1 radio chatter pop-ups. I'll have to think of something else. Do some digging. Yeah. We'll have to see. Maybe we go back to the season 10 intro with some tweaks. I have some ideas. We'll cook. We'll figure something out. But during the brief off season that we have at the end of February into March, Mitch and I will hopefully be planning our re-entry into the extreme sports esports field with our original series, the Tartiflet Games. This is an extreme sports series, skiing, snowboarding series that has quite literally taken us around the globe as a duo. We've been to France, Poland, and Montreal just basically for that series over in Ubisoft's Steep, now the new game Riders Republic. So stay tuned for that. Whether or not you want to compete in those tournaments, I can guarantee that folks of fans of F1 will also be fans of an X Games style snowboarding, skiing, mountain biking contest. It is a ton of fun. And if you think these broadcasts are good, buddy, just wait until you see some TFG action. That is our bread and butter. That's where we cut our teeth, and we can't wait to get back to that. So stay on the lookout for everything over here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe, please.
check out our back catalog, and we will see you in just under 1 month. Stay beautiful. I'm Nick.
I'm Mitch.
Have a wonderful off season.